Okay, so I think I got some good information for you. Thank you for allowing me to help out here. I think I got some uh, good stuff. You can have a decent framework, but you definitely got some things to work on. Let's see here. We got, what is this about? I can't see it because you may not be able to see it, but my pause button's covering this up. Looks like one, two, three, four, five, 6 pages or so. So I'm just gonna go over some general things up front that aren't specific to you. And so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna give you my findings, things that I think that you need to change. But I'm also just going to give you some general tips of things I think you need to know about going forward. And then I'll get into a little bit of just general SEO, very, very, very little, but just some things I think that really stuck out when I was looking at your website. So it's all about, for Google My Business and for all local SEO, it's all about relevance. So how relevant is your business to the search? Obviously, if somebody searched for pizza restaurant, you're not going to show up. That's what that means. Proximity. So if somebody searches for cabinet maker, whatever the category is, and they're physically located a block away from your business, that's one that increases the chances you'll show up just based on the proximity selector, right? So all three of these matter, but that's going to help you there. So if there's just no way around it, if your business is located in East Miami and somebody searches from West Miami, the chances of you showing up are a lot less based on proximity. It's going to display those businesses over in West Miami first, right? And then prominent. So how prominent is your business? What are your reviews like? Where are you mentioned on the web? What links do you have coming into your website? What is your Better Business Profile like? Now, do I know if Google looks at Better Business Profile? I don't know that specifically, but I do know, quote unquote, prominence is a thing. So what does that mean, right? You have to think that it perhaps looks at Yelp reviews. Perhaps it looks at how many your activity on social media. Nobody really knows, but all this comes into play. So here's just a few interesting things that I've come across over time. Is the average conversion rate is about 5%, meaning the number of people that bring up your business and Google My Business, the average number of business visitors that are going to click on it is like 5%, right? So it's not that lot. That's just the way it is. Meaning if it shows up, in the Google search results and there's like 4 or 5 businesses listed. So 50% of so GMB is Google My Business. Google My Business pages earn at least 1,000 views per month, right? So just by having a Google My Business listing, you're possibly getting 1,000 eyeballs on your business. What if they may not do business with you at that point, but you're putting your business name in their head, right? So every view, every time they see your business, I mean, this is more business. This isn't really local SEO stuff. But all that helps, right? All those just trigger a remembrance in people's brains. Then 84 businesses are found with discovery searches. So this means most businesses aren't found by typing in kitchen and closets by Light and Decor. Most businesses are found by people searching for cabinet maker Baton Rouge, right? That's how most businesses are found. So you want to make sure you have all these good keywords in your Google My Business profile and on your website, and we will get to all that. And then Google My Business clicks, and this was a 2020 metric. So website clicks from Google My Business are up about 30% from 2018. And I'm sure, I haven't seen the number, but I'm sure as of 2021, my guess is this would probably be 40 to 50%. So you need to establish a really well thought out profile with really well thought out information on your page and structure on your page, meaning your website, your web pages. So that's that. So niche will help you grow, right? So if you want, what I like to do, these things are constantly evolving, right? There's no set it and forget it. Now, it doesn't mean you have to change things every week. In fact, I wouldn't change things every week. I like to change things up if I'm not having success every, like 6 months, between 3 and 6 months. So what the niche means is, do you want to focus on like restaurants or businesses or houses? Now I put that there. I wouldn't do it for you. I would let this profile stabilize for a few months once we get some of the updates done to it. And that's something to consider. And it doesn't make as much sense for you unless you are doing commercial versus residential. But I think you're just doing residential. So it's not, unless there's some other niche you could think of. But niche is how you grow. So if you grow in one niche, then you're gaining that popularity. Then you focus on another niche and gaining that popularity. Then you focus on a third niche and gaining that popularity. And then overall you gain in the long run, right? It's like a dentist that focuses on kids. They can do adult dentistry, but they focus on kids because they build up that niche. Doesn't mean an adult can't go there, but they build up that niche, right? And use clear images. So I pointed this out because on your website, I mean, the biggest thing, well, even not the biggest thing, a big thing that matters, if I was looking for like this really, I would consider this luxury kitchens and closet items, is because this is a good picture here, I think. But first of all, I wouldn't have this carousel because this is a really blank image. I would just have this one image. Also, carousels slow websites down, even though yours loads fast, not a big deal. But there's nothing on these. And I would get rid of this carousel. But if you're going to use images, this doesn't look very clear. Because the image for a product and service that you have, I think is a pretty big deal. Not I think, I know is a pretty big deal. So that's that. This one looks really good, and I get you may not want it totally crisp with the letters in the background, with the letters in the foreground, but since the letters in the foreground don't show up here, it looks like an actual product image. So I would just get rid of the carousel and just have this one here. Because these look pretty good. And let me pause it for a second. Okay, so the next thing is keep your socials up to date. It's getting harder and harder for business posts to show up in people's Facebook feeds. I think it's only like 5% or so, 5% of your Facebook followers will see any updates you make to Facebook because they're trying to get businesses to advertise on the Facebook platform. But it still doesn't mean you shouldn't keep your socials up to date, because this is the kind of stuff when people are looking to do business with you, many of them are going to go look for a business like this, are going to look at your Instagram probably, your Pinterest, possibly. Not as much Twitter for this, but your Facebook probably. And you want to have all that up to date. I noticed is it your Facebook or your Twitter? One of them you haven't posted in a long time. So that's something you want to keep up to date, even though it's annoying. The only thing I would really do you don't want to just do specials and deals, because that's just going to drain people out. That's just going to annoy people. For you, I would just focus on pictures, because I think with what you're doing, pictures is what sells. So you can use a program like Buffer. I use it. You basically post it once. Let me see if I can show it to you real quick. I'm not going to really go into how to. Now, most things I use are free. You can see here I got a little trivia blog, and you just do this. So I post, this is a new post, whatever, and I post it, and I link it actually to, let me just do this. I run a blog that has like a lot of really weird questions, right? So I just do this. So I do Facebook and Twitter. And then I just do this. And I put some marketing text around it and stuff like that. So you can see, this way you don't have to go to Facebook and post it. You don't have to go to Instagram and post it. You don't have to go to Twitter and post it. You post it in one place and you're done. Excuse me. So these are free if you use these. Now, if you get into other social platforms, it's going to cost money, right? That's just something to consider. And you do have performance issues. Now, I do web performance on WordPress, and WordPress just is I'm sorry, you don't have performance issues for when it comes to load time, although these synthetic tests, meaning these tests that aren't really human beings, it thinks it's taking 8 seconds to load your page, which is kind of it's hard. I would take this with a grain of salt, because when you actually go to your page, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, so it loads in 2 seconds. So that's really good. However, for some reason, this is what Google uses. These are called Core Web Vitals. So they're spelled Core Web Vitals. You can go research it if you want. This is what's gonna affect one of the many hundreds of signals that's going to affect your search ranking. You want to find out why your largest contentful paint, which has to do with images being displayed on how long it's taking the biggest image to display on your website, why that's red and why this is red. So it's something you want to investigate. I really only do WordPress now, just because that's kind of my niche, right? So as I talked about niches before, but that's something you want to consider. You also have some security issues. None of these are major, but this is something you definitely want to keep an eye on. These are real easy fix. I also do security, but mainly for WordPress, like I said. These are easy fixes. And these look like this is some of the server-side services, software, whatever you're using on your server, and it looks like these are outdated. Now, this might be something that I think you're using Weebly. Let me look. Wix. You're using Wix, so this might be something that's out of your control, but you definitely don't want to have any vulnerabilities. I mean, I'm sure you see what's going on in the news with ransomware and stuff, right? And I do security audits as well. That's for WordPress. I don't want to get into other non-WordPress, but just the one thing I would suggest, unrelated to local SEO, is just make sure you enable two-factor authentication. I mean, that's how most of these ransomware folks are getting into people's websites, is email click stuff, like spammy. My mind's drawing blank. I can't even think of the word of it right now. Like spear phishing, that type of thing, and then not having two-factor authentication. So that's that. So I was looking at your something called a web footprint, right? So if you search for Layton, you have a pretty decent web footprint because you're on Houzz, Facebook, Better Business Bureau. I was looking at all these. That's pretty good. Now, you're not mentioned like in any newspapers or any local magazines and all that stuff, and that's a whole different topic. That's a whole different something I go over in my SEO audit. Let me get a sip of water. But that's something that would really help. So the more you're mentioned on the web, the more that increases your web footprint. And it makes sense that Google takes all this into account, right? It's not just looking what your web page is about. It's looking what signals are getting from all these other websites. And I looked at, I don't remember which one it was. I guess it doesn't really matter. Maybe it was Yelp. I don't know. And I came across these categories, right? These services. So these, and you don't mention a lot of these things on your homepage, right? So if you go here, and Google ties all this together. If you say in your Google My Business profile that you do cabinet design, kitchen design, and then you go to your web page, whoops, and it says kitchens and closets, and you have an extra space here, I just noticed. So just for professionalism purposes, you want to get rid of that. Also, I just noticed this. This is stuff I would cover in my SEO audit. You want to make this phone number clickable, and you also should put your phone number up here in the top right, but I digress. You want to have a lot more detailed information on your homepage. I don't know why this is blank either. I do like this. Oh, okay, so that was something that probably just scrolled off. So that's good. I like the awards. Your copyright date is out of date, by the way. It's a lot of. Okay, there we go. So you want to have, and your competition's not doing a good job of it either. So that's good for you. So what I like to do, I like to type like whatever your keyword is, cabinet maker. Oh, a cabinet maker kind of sounds like something out of the 1700s. So whatever the luxury closet design, Boston, luxury closet design, New York. See what those web pages look like. And that's kind of what, and you want to look at the ones that are at the top of the results because they're doing the right thing, right? To give you some ideas. You want to have sections for each of these categories, each of these services. You configure, okay, so this was from Yelp or wherever. Now, if you go to your Google My Business profile, it's a different set server. Now I can't. There could be more. I'm sorry, there are more, but you want to make sure that, and it could be categories, and we'll get into categories as well. It's just consistent across all of your citations on the web, meaning all of the places your website, all the directories you're in, Yelp, Bing Places, Apple Maps, Waze, if you're in Waze, etc., etc. And then you want to take the next step, and for cabinet making, let me go back here. Those are kind of more generic. Cabinet design, closet design. You need to have, first of all, you need to mention every one of those at some place to wherever this link's going to, your homepage. And then you need to have services up here. And you need to have, I want to see a landing page for each one of these services, meaning you want to have a dedicated page to each one of these services. these. At a minimum, you need to mention each one of these services because keep in mind, this is for humans trying to find out what you do, and also from a Google algorithmic perspective. Right? It's trying to determine, do you really do what you say you do? If you're a cabinet maker on your website, do you give a lot of good information on your cabinet maker stuff? And you don't. So at a minimum, I would take all these, or what, I'm not even, I don't know. Yeah, okay. So you just need to standardize on these. I would have a page for each one of these, or whatever the categories are. And if you can't do that on your services page, you need to have cabinet design, closet organization. At a minimum, have 3 or 4 sentences underneath each one describing what you do. And pictures for this kind of stuff would be great. For this kind of stuff, before and after pictures are absolutely huge, especially this remodeling stuff. And you're not doing any of that. You're not taking advantage of Google Photos at all. And that's a really big thing. This is the kind of stuff that shows up here. So this is like free advertising, right? There's no reason not to have put this stuff here, because this is what draws eyeballs to your business, right? So you want to take advantage of every feature Google My Business is giving you. So we'll get into that as we go along. And again, this is kind of getting into general SEO territory. So this is something that I do cover in my full SEO audits if you're interested in something like that. Yeah, we did go over this. Check your competitors, and there are other top results. Like I said, New York, Boston, LA. I like to do the main cities because that's where the competition's generally the greatest, and that's generally where the people spend the most time doing this stuff, because it's really hard to outrank to rank for these things. Now, it's kind of surprising that in Miami, which is where you are, your competition's not doing a really good job of this. That's very surprising. So you want to not, and this is more general SEO stuff. So what are their titles, right? What are their H1s? What are their images? Are they using videos? Are they using maps? You want to kind of mimic the ones the top results and whatever's working for them. So I would get into that more in my SEO audit as well. But that'll give you a general idea. Address inconsistency. So your citations all across the web. Whoops. It doesn't save it, does it? Let me do, this is a free scan by Moz. So this is going to check your listing in all of these different directories. Now you don't have to be, I really only spend my time in, like I said, Google My Business, Bing Places, Yahoo Local, Apple Maps, Waze, sometimes, I think I wrote all these down. Yelp. Now, if you're a restaurant, you'd get into like, Urban Spoon and stuff. Then other than that, the niche ones that are specific to your industry, like you have that house one. Maybe Angie's List. I don't know if Angie's List does. Yours is probably too luxury, more of a luxury item. I don't know. I have no idea. But that's the kind of stuff. So for example, my local services. Do you want to be in that? I don't know. Because the more you're in, the harder it is to manage, right? So what this shows you is you're in Google. It's not detecting you in Facebook. So why is that? What I've noticed is you can see here 4327 Northwest 37 Court, Miami, and the phone number 286. If you look at some other entries, this doesn't have an address on Hot Frog. This says Northwest 6th Street, and I have no idea what this is, so that's messed up. And this has a different phone number, and this has, so you can see, this has a different phone number as well, I think. These need to be consistent all across the board, right? This is what confuses Google. These are called citations. So I guess you have accounts on all these. If not, you need to figure out how to get to claim this listing. And why is this Titan Decor? You must have changed. Okay, so this is even more confusion. I just noticed this actually. You want the business names to be 100% consistent. The addresses, if you say ST here, don't say street somewhere else. If you say Suite B here, say Suite B here. If it says, yeah, the title's 100% consistent. So look, this is different from this, this. So if it's ampersand, don't use and, use ampersand. It seems a little silly to get that crazy, but you just needs it. Google, this stuff confuses Google, and I'm assuming Google uses some kind of confidence factor. Is it confident this is the right business name if it looks at your web footprint and it sees it's a different name here, a different name here? Can Google be confident that it's going to show the right business name? That's why these all need to be 100% consistent, right? Now you can use a tool like Bright Local or Moz Local to manage all these easily, but these tools all cost money, and you could end up spending $500 a month or more on a bunch of tools. I would just go. It makes sense if you want to be in like 50 different directories to use one of these tools, but like I said, I wouldn't spend much time on websites like this, but since you're in there, I would go correct them. And if you didn't create that listing, you might have to email the support and say, hey, this is my business. How do I verify it? They'll probably send you a card or something like that. So here's a big citation list. You can get it. These are all the different citations with the domain authority, meaning like how respectable are they? Man, that's an SEO metric. There's all kinds of stuff, right? So another thing I noticed is when I search for your phone number, well, this is good for Yelp, Light and Decor, but also, so I'm assuming this is probably you too, and you probably have multiple businesses. This is stuff that confuses Google. You don't want to have a phone number for a real estate agent and for a like a cabinet, your business. I hate to say cabinetry. That just doesn't seem to do it justice. But decor. So this is stuff that all this what is this? Dennis Lighton Hotel. Anyway, so what I would do in this case, you don't want to have 8 different cell phones. So in this case, I would just get a Google Voice number, right? And that forwards to this cell phone number. I'm assuming it's a cell phone number. That's what I would do, because you just don't want to confuse Google. All these things, like, is this a huge deal in itself? No, but all these things do add up. And I think in Google's point of view, it kind of shows that you're paying attention, right? It would make sense to me that if there's none of these duplications, none of these errors, it increases what I said, quote unquote, Google's confidence that your listing's accurate, because Google doesn't want to display listings that are not accurate. So this is the next thing I would do. So Google Spy, GMB Spy. It's a Chrome extension. You can see here GMB Spy. Just go download it, install it, and what happens? Sometimes it puts it and it hides it. So you just need to come to this puzzle piece, and so see how it hid up here. So you click on Watch Up Here. So you click on this to show your extension, then pin it, and it's going to be here. So what you want to do now, I can see your categories, right? Because you gave me access. You are a cabinet maker, carpenter, kitchen remodeler. I would have no more than 5. Now you have 3, so that's fine. I'm not saying you have too many now, but I'm going to show you. How do you know you're using the right ones? I mean, there's thousands of categories. How do you know you're using the best ones? So I would go to my competition, especially ones that are performing well. And also, if you download this Plepper, and I mentioned it here, PLEPER, you can see their attributes too. Wheelchair accessible entrance. So you want to, if they apply to you, you want to mimic those, what they're doing that works, right? So kitchen and closet design, then come up here to GMB Spy, and they are a kitchen remodeler. Okay, you're that, so that's good. You have that in your list. Let's go to this one. Kitchen remodeler. Okay, you have that in your list. Wow, all these are kitchen remodeler. Interesting. So let's do this. Remodeler Boston. That's an ad. We don't want the ad. Okay, we'll just do this anyway. So let's click on the pane over here. And then let's go. So now I'm just getting other ideas. Contractor, bathroom remodeler, right? So you don't have that. So that's something you want to include. Let's see. There's probably architect. You might remodeler in general, right? So this is the kind of stuff. Now you're probably not an architecture firm. Let's go look at one more. So you want to make sure you're ranking. And then as you see these are keywords you want to think about adding on your website and having landing pages for these. These are the keywords. These are the services you then want to put down here, right? So this is how you do it. You find out what's working well, and you kind of mimic it. And then as you add them, like I said, to your profile, You then want to go back and create those landing pages. You want landing pages on your website. These need to match up with whatever's on your website, right? Okay, yeah, I just showed you that, the attributes. Now, I mean, that's not really that big of a deal because you can just go here. Where are them suckers at? I've been doing this for years and I never can remember where all these are at. Add attributes, right? I don't think you have any now. So are you black owned? Are you a veteran? Because you'd be surprised. A lot of people, not a lot, some people will search for veteran owned doctor or veteran owned, pizza shop or black owned pizza shop or whatever it is. I think you're a guy, so you're not women led, but all these things. And this is the kind of stuff that's gonna if Google, so somebody's not gonna search for, and this may not apply to you at all because you probably, not even sure you have a storefront. I think you're just a service business, and that's something we'll get into. Just so you have, I just want to give you an understanding of how Google thinks through these things. At least we think they think through these things. Nobody's going to search for wheelchair accessible cabinet maker. However, let's say you had a storefront, which you might, if you put wheelchair accessible, and then Google knows somebody is in a wheelchair generally because it knows what people search for in Google. If they're buying a lot of, if they're buying wheelchairs, if they're buying wheelchair cleaning equipment, whatever, you can imagine Google's going to start to think there's a pretty high affinity or a pretty good probability that this person that's searching is in a wheelchair. So if they're looking for a cabinet maker storefront, right, whatever, and you have wheelchair accessible entrance, that's a point in your favor. So all this stuff, right? Gender neutral bathroom, all this stuff, right? This COVID stuff was really important. And it makes sense that during COVID, when it was at its peak, well, I should say, if you select these things, that's another sign to Google that you're staying on top of things, right? I think just in general, Google likes businesses that stay on top of their listing and make sure it's up to date, right? So that's that. Let's see here. We got a couple more pages. Okay. So and then you want to go to, like I said, the main ones, Bing, Yahoo, Apple Maps, and kind of do these same type of settings on all of those platforms. Now, I'm not a Bing Places specialist. I'm not a Yahoo local specialist, but they all have similar kind of settings. It's not that complicated. Track. This, whoops. Okay, let me make sure. Track attributes. Okay, next thing we want to do. See, well, what happens a lot of time is Google My Business rolls out new features, and if you don't stay on top of things, you don't know about it. So complete your recommended tasks. Okay, so you can view there. Look, this is something that got released in the last few months. I had a client that didn't know about it. She goes, why wasn't that, why didn't I know about that? And generally I try to keep my clients on top of everything, but I'm not a perfect human being. So my point is at least once a month, set a calendar reminder. If I could show you my calendar, look at all day, look at this. It's just a reminder just to do crazy stuff. It's not really meetings. It's just to do things. So once a month, set a reminder just to look at this homepage. Is there anything new? Oh, okay. I can connect with customers in real time. That's something I would set up for sure. Oh, look, virtual tours. That actually could apply to you. I think that would be really cool if you could show virtual tours of your remodeling work. That would be extremely powerful. I would definitely add videos here of your work. That would be really powerful. Now, you don't need a professional. These days, this isn't 1987 where you need like a professional photographer or like somebody with a, Rokaton video, whatever it is. You can just do that with your iPhone or with your Android phone and post it here, right? It's not complex. And again, it's a signal to Google that you're staying on top of things. So it makes sense. Google is going to rank higher businesses that stay on top of things. But it's just giving more. Your business is going to be taking up more screen real estate, and it's a higher probability, and that's what SEO is. It's all probability that people are going to click on your business. Track. So what you want to do here, again, not complicated, and they're actually, Google My Business is actually rolling out new insights here, but I haven't really had a chance to go through, and I'm just so busy to go through and look at the metrics there. You could go through it, but what I track is once a month, look at the searches. Look at how many times I've showed up. It's how many times I've been shown up in Google Maps. How many times people have visited my website, etc., etc., etc. And the reason is you want to see if what you're doing is working. Now, I have a whole other process for doing this for general SEO stuff, which I would cover if you decided to do that. But you want to make sure that your listing, the number of website visits you're getting is increasing month to month. Now, actually, record it month to month, but you want to really don't make any changes 3, 4 to 5 to 6 month increments, because when you make a change, a long time it takes Google a few months to kind of digest it, settle on it, because it's always doing testing, right? If you make a change, let's say you update a cabinetry page, Google may rank that second and see what happens. Then it might rank it on page 2 and see what happens. Then it might rank it 8th and see what happens. It's trying to figure out where it belongs, how much time people spend on that page. It's called dwell time, and that's something I cover as well. Are people clicking on the videos on that page? Are people engaging with the page, basically? What are we at? 30 minutes. Okay, that's that. So track. So I just do that in a spreadsheet. So let me just show you real quick how simple this is. Let me pause it so I can find this actually. Okay, so this is basically the general tracking spreadsheet I have. As you can see, it just goes month to month. And you can track whatever you want. What's my similar web score? This is more general SEO stuff. What's my Alexa score? From Google Analytics, what's the bounce rate? How many pages per session? How many clicks am I getting from Google search, right? So why I'm showing you this is all the way to the end is where I collect Google My Business web views, directions, etc., etc. So this isn't complex stuff. It doesn't look fancy, but I generally find fancy is less useful. I just want to see data and I want to see what's working. So that's important to track this stuff, is the point of what I'm trying to say. So you don't have a good business description either. So if you go here, info, anytime Google gives you a certain amount of characters to do something, you want to use a lot of those, most of those characters up. So Google My Business gives you 750, I think it is 750. So in your business description, and again, you don't have to create this from scratch. Let's go look at your, well, basically you can just go look at the profile descriptions of your competition, right? And you can't copy and paste because Google's going to detect that, but it'll give you a good flow of what you're going to do. Now, you probably should have this as an owner of your business, but this should be close to 750. I mean, if it's 680 or something, that's fine, but you want to make sure you weave. So for local SEO purposes, you want to make sure you mention your primary locations in here. Experienced closet designer, Miami, Suffolk, whatever cities there are, Fort Lauderdale, whatever. I don't even know the cities there. But then also you want to weave, it should read naturally. You want to weave into here. Now you don't want to spam it with 50 different cities. So you could say like the Miami-Dade area, the city X area, whatever, or county or whatever. But you want to definitely get in here as many of your categories and services as possible, right? So all this ties together. And again, that's the stuff that appears on your website as well. But you definitely need to get that updated. Okay, categories, keywords, business description. So this is a thing that businesses do. It's a violation to put anything but your actual business name in your Google My Business name listing. So what some people do is, let's see, Robert Schamberger cabinet maker. So let's go to his website. So what some people do, if you put your keyword, if your keywords appear in your business name, it can drastically affect your ranking in Google My Business. So you can see here. So this is his actual business name. So what I'm trying to tell you, you do have yours in your business, kitchen and closet design. That's not you. That's you. So yours is good because you have the keywords kitchen and closets by Light. So that's good. Now it doesn't say remodeling or whatever, but you still have kitchens and closets. Those are two really good keywords. But what you want to keep an eye out for is your competition. If they spam keywords in their Google My Business title, because it really affects the ranking, you want to make sure you report those. And there's like a report button or whatever. I don't even know where is it at. I don't know. You can just Google how to report business. It's somewhere on here. Oh, suggest and edit. That's where it's at. And from there, you can follow the process and list it. Because that's a very common way for businesses to start ranking high in Google My Business and Google Maps is to spam their keywords in the title. So that's something. That's another thing I would add to my list once a month to do. Even like once every 6 months would be fine. So notice you don't have any products listed. So if you do, it doesn't. I don't think you do have any specific products because yours is more of a service. You're not selling like, you know, Joe's cabinet for $300, right? You're selling a whole remodeling service. So that's something you probably don't have. But just so you know about that, it's over here. Okay, we went over this. And here's a masked, so verify the categories. You want landing pages for all those categories. I went over that multiple times, so that should make sense. And here's a master category list. You can see how crazy this is. These are all the categories. Look at this. Boom, boom, for Google My Business. It's just insane. Look how far we're, all these, and look how many more pages we have to go. So it's going to be hard. Maybe you could search for remodel, bathroom remodel, kitchen remodel, Okay, so we saw these three, doing research through our Google My Business, Google GMB Spy extension. So let's do kitchen perhaps. So you can just kind of cycle through your keywords. Kitchen furniture, kitchen supply. So you're not those. And then, like I said, you don't want to do more than 5, right? So this is, but you'll be able to, if I never come here, to be honest with you, what I do is I go see what my competition's using, like I showed you here, just so we know. And, whoops. And then let me just show, and then go to Google My Business Spy. You have to first click on the panel over here and click on the white area. If you don't, what happened to me just will happen to you. So click on the white area. That's going to pop it up, Greater Boston Kitchen Remodeling. Then go to Google My Business Spy, Kitchen Remodeler. So these seem to be 3 of the best. It's just, So you get the idea. You get the idea. I don't want to beat a dead horse. Okay, you don't have hours, so you want to add hours. And again, you might think you probably don't have store hours. You do have hours. Okay, why did I put that there? Messaging is another big thing. Not a big thing. It is a thing. Oh, did they remove it? Interesting. I think they actually removed it. Huh. There used to be a messaging thing here. Maybe they removed it in the last week or so. Basically, what it would do, it would add a message button here. Maybe they removed it. Let me pause it. Okay, Google still shows that it's a feature, so I don't know why it's not showing up. Maybe just Google My Business does have weird bugs at times, just like anything else. So check back in a few days. There will be a messaging thing. Oh, actually, you know what? I think you configure it in the. No, you should be able to configure it here. But maybe they switched it to where you need to install it, and I think that's what this article is getting at. You need to download the Google My Business app on your phone, and it's just going to provide another avenue for people to get a hold of you, right? And it's going to send you a message through the app on Google My Business. So that's just one more thing. Now, that's not going to show up. It'll never show up using desktop search. It's only going to show up on mobile search. Attributes, so add facts. So at the present time, I don't believe, I know they were supposed to add it. I don't think they did add it. Let me see. Questions. So, but if you go here, you will see where add label, where are the questions at? So let's just do this. Let's do lighten decor. You'll see a questions here. I don't think there's a way to do this on the back end yet, like within here. I know they're working on it, at least I've heard they are, but I don't think I've seen it. Anyway, you just want to come here, and this is a place to do frequently asked questions. So you just want to ask questions and then answer them, right? So that's that. So it's going to take up more screen real estate, like what's the turnaround time? whatever the free. I mean, I'm not a cabinet maker. I think it's awesome, but I would have no idea how to make a cabinet. But it's something. What are the questions your clients, your customers ask you regularly, right? It's just basically a frequently asked question. That's something you'd want to put there. We went over the attributes. So an appointment link is another cool thing. So if you want to set up an appointment, and if you don't have an appointment link, you could just link it to like your contact page. But what a lot of companies have, or they have links to a page where people can actually set up an appointment, and that's something you would put right here. So that's good. So I think a really big thing for you obviously would be photos. Like these are good, shows your logo, these are good, and these are good, but it's just four that essentially kind of show the same thing. I would expect, I'm guessing I have no idea, but if I had to guess, I would say you probably do one job every 2 weeks. Now I could be totally off, but whatever. So I would expect to have, 4 or 5 photos, maybe more, for every job that you do and post those here. Now I would love to see, I would actually do a photo, like split, like probably horizontally with before and after, before and after, before and after. I think that would be huge. But you need to up that photo game because it's going to help customers. I think for your business, generally, like for dentistry, for anything that's in roofing. I just did a guy that he repairs, what are they called? Steeplechase. They're bells on the top of churches. And he added before and after photos, and his business is going crazy. Well, as crazy as a business can go for repairing bells on top of churches. But that's the kind of stuff you want to do here. And it makes sense. The more stuff, the more media, the more content you provide in your profile, the higher Google's going to rank you. That would make sense because you're using a Google product and Google wants to showcase its product, but it also shows you're on top of things. You're active in your business, right? You're really managing it well, and you're not just letting things go stale. And then your image name. So if you want to make sure, you don't want to call an image, and I go into this in my other audit as well, but you don't want to call an image img23.jpg. You wanted to say, I like adding the location name, Miami remodeled white kitchen or something like that. And all photos also add some metadata called EXIF information, and that's going to, if the text a photo was taking in Fort Lauderdale or wherever, Google's going to start to think, okay, maybe they do business in Fort Lauderdale, right? Maybe they do business in Jacksonville. All these places you do business at, and I know it's on your webpage. I just can't remember. I've been to Fort Lauderdale, and that's pretty much it. I just can't remember what's what. So all these, right? So you just want to make sure you take photos in all these locations, and that's a signal to Google that you actually work in these locations. Now, reviews are critical. So you want to get reviews anytime. Now, with a business like yours, you're probably forming pretty good. You're not working at a taco stand and selling tacos, and people come up, order your tacos, and maybe you give them a card and say, please leave a review, and if you will, right? You probably form better relationships with these people. You probably know their name, I hope. Probably know their wife's name. You might even know, like, if they like to go to, Florida Gator football games or whatever. I'm sure these are more like personal related. It's not, you just don't show up and do it and leave, show up, do it and leave. So getting these reviews is critical. Your competition has good reviews, 12, 22, 111. So what you want to do is you need to get these reviews, and you need to respond to all of them, and it needs to be personal. Now, to get these reviews, what I like to do a couple days after you get done with the business, after you get done with let's say the remodeling, and they're happy and they're really excited about it, that's when you want to follow up with an email. Maybe a text message. You'll know which one do they respond the most, which one have you been communicating with, and you'd say, hey, hope everything's going really good. Let me, we're here if you have any questions, anything goes wrong. We'd really appreciate a review, and it would really help out my business because now you're probably friendly with them. And you can say, if you could leave a review, could you mention, if you're looking for things to write about, and even offer like I don't know. I sometimes suggest that, but basically you want to get your keywords in the review, right? You want to get the keywords you're trying to rank on in their review. So you could suggest they use the keywords, maybe give them a little framework of how you want to write it. But at a minimum, you want to get that review. And I usually don't send a reminder more than, I usually send the initial, then I wait a week and send a follow up. And if they don't do it, I don't worry about it because I don't want to bother people. Don't get an automated review solution. The conversion rate on those is very low. It needs to be personal. So when you write them, hey Joe, hope those white cabinets are working out well for you. Hope your dog hasn't scratched up or whatever. Hope to see you at the Florida football game next year. So it's personal. So it's not, they know it's not automated. That's really important. And you need to link them directly to the review page. Now, I always ask for a Google review, but I also, on every email, will ask for a review in either Yelp, Facebook, wherever. So I mention to always Google, then I rotate the other one depending on where I need the review. So what you need to do is you want to get a link directly to your business. So let's do this. I never can remember what the business is called. Lighten Decor 33142. 33142. Why is that not working? Maybe it's not detecting the kitchen. If this isn't working, there's tons of websites you can do this for. Just follow up with me and I'll get you a better link. Lighten Decor 33142. Google review link generator. Let me go to another one that was working a while back. I don't know why that's not working. Enter business. So we'll do Miami. Boom. Okay, so here's your, this is what you want to put in the email. So you just don't want to say leave me a review because people, where do I go? What do I do? You know what I mean? So what it does is it pops them right to here, right where they can post a review, right? You don't want to just say, please leave me a Google review, Google My Business review, because where do you do it at, right? If I'm looking to do it, where do I do it at? It's right here, but you don't want to make people have to hunt for this stuff, right? So that's really, really important. I made some more notes here. Yeah, respond to all review and stealth promote. I love stealth promoting. So if somebody said, if they're saying they're done with their kitchen remodeling, you might want to say, oh, just thanks. And we also do, outdoor patio remodeling if you ever need that. Why you want to do that, they may never need it. But if somebody's reading through reviews, maybe they want bathroom remodeling and they want patio remodeling. If they say you do both, if they see you do both, that's another, point in your favor, right? I love stealth promoting in reviews and it works really well. It's that, help them with review, post these reviews, screenshot. Yeah, so when you get the reviews, these are things you want to post to your social media channels. You want to take a screenshot of the review, so it's an image, and that's something you could post as a photo here. Here, right? Wait, where's photos? Photos. Right, so that's something you could post as a photo here. Okay, moving along. Almost finished here, I think. Yeah, pretty close. And I'm going to send you these notes, so you don't got to write them down. And oh yeah, so look at how does your competition respond to reviews? I looked at them, and some of them, I think it's this guy, does a really good detailed review. Well, one of them does. I see this is good, personalized. We're delighted that you had a great experience. Thank you. I would be a little more personalized. See, this is good that they're responding, but it's all just, hey Bob, thank you. Hey Bob, thank you. I would want to see a little bit more personalized. And also, imagine if you're looking for somebody to remodel your kitchen, and you were reading the reviews, and you can sense that the owner of that business takes time to write good responses. That's gonna be another signal in your favor. Just maybe not from an algorithmic point of view, even though maybe it will be, but from just a human being trying to determine if they want to do business with you. So I just want to mention Google Guaranteed. It's got probably released about 6 months ago. It's something you may want to do. I think it's $600 a year, something like that. And what it does is it adds this little your little Google Guaranteed to your listing. And what they do background checks, they do all kinds of stuff. And it has benefits, though. It gives people like insurance if they use your company. So we got some good benefits. It's just something you might want to do. You might want to also consider, let me see if I can find something, advertising. So, if you, lawyer will definitely have it. Let me do lawyer, injury lawyer, the most advertising hungry business in the world. And watch it not do it this time. See right here, ad. So this is something you might want to consider doing as well. With Google Ads, this is actually local search ads, I believe they're called. You can start with like $5 a day. You don't have to do an outlay of like $6,000 to see if it works. Now, when you do Google Ads, or if you do any type of ads, just make sure you know what you're doing. You don't want to just advertise on the keyword kitchen remodeling, right? Because you're going to show it when people search for kitchen remodeling, and maybe they're just looking for information on doing it themselves, right? You want to advertise on very specific keywords so you don't waste your money. You want to geo-target people. You don't want to have somebody in Seattle searching for, kitchen remodeling contractor. That might be a good word. You'd have to research it. I don't know a good keyword. You want to make sure they're in your service area. So there's all kinds of stuff you need. So if you do it, just make sure you know what you're doing. One thing you really need to do, and I go into this and my main SEO audit, is you need to have good content on your website, meaning blog posts and stuff like that. And that I'm just mentioning, that's the kind of stuff you can fill up your posts with in your Google My Business profile, because that's basically what establishes what's called topical authority to the Google algorithm. If you have a lot of good posts on cabinetry, on luxury stuff, blah, 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 that's a signal to Google that you're an expert in this, right? And that's something that you want Google to understand that you are. How you get ideas for that? Well, again, that's something I could go into a lot more detail about, but one quick way is just go to websites that are doing it successful in different cities, wherever, and see what they're writing about, and that's something you could write about. But there's a lot of really good ways using, like, search for in what's the Quora kitchen remodel. What questions are people asking? So that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. And then anything you post that's geo-specific, like Miami or Florida, that helps build what's called that geographical relevance. So you have, topical relevance and geographical relevance, or geographical relevance is the right word. And then in posts, if you see here, it's all kinds of stuff. COVID updates, thankfully that's going away. You can do offers, right? Updates, this is just a general update, events, products. So this is where you'd post like a blog post or something. At events, are you having like open houses perhaps? Products, you probably don't do products. And then this isn't local. I add this because this is such a powerful thing we've had success with. Not really to any business, whether I'm working with a lawyer, whether I'm working with a bank, whether I'm working with a restaurant, whether I'm working with anything you can possibly think of. One of the best things we have done, and it's so simple, every year, send every customer that you have their email address for a survey. And don't make it 30 questions, because nobody wants to. Who has time for that? What do we do good? What do we do bad? What would you improve? And maybe overall 1 to 10, something like that. The reason you want to do this, and not from an SEO point of view, but you're going to get so much good information on your business and how you can improve your business. And the better your business is, I guess indirectly, the better your SEO result, your business results are going to be, and that's going to indirectly affect your SEO ranking, your search engine ranking, because more and more people are happy with your business, more and more people are going to your webpage. The more people that go to your webpage, it's like a spiraling effect. So the more people that go to your webpage, the more customers you're going to get. The more customers you get, the more people that are going to your webpage. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I hope you have found this informative. I do spend a lot of time on these, doing good research, not good research, doing research. And like I said, if you're interested in a full SEO audit, I can certainly help with that. I have a gig for that. We can talk. But hopefully you found this interesting. And if you have general questions or SEO related, I'm here. Whether it's tomorrow, I don't go away when the gig closes. You can just contact me whenever you want. If you just want to run something by me, whether it's local SEO or general SEO or web performance or security or whatever, I'm here to help you out. So don't be shy about that. So good luck. And I hope this all helps you. Oh, and I would, like I told you, I would really, really appreciate a review. And if there's in the review, if you decide a hopefully a positive review, but I can't ask you for a positive review. But if you're going to leave it, maybe discuss maybe 2 or 3 sentences saying what you liked about what I did. Hopefully you liked what I did. If you are going to leave a negative review because you don't think that I covered something properly, just allow me, please, to just cover that before leaving a negative review. That's all I would ask. So anyway, that's it. Thank you for your time, and good luck.